Uproar as IGP PSC clash over retirement of police officers.
Honestly, this thing was caused by the president, this problem that we have. And in extending Mr. Egbetokun's tenure to another 4 years, that's what's bringing about the crisis here. Because the PSC is insisting that officers should retire at, I think, at the age of 60 or so. But the IG, in his wisdom, he issued a directive and told officers who have attained 35 years or 60, he said that they should hold on.
Why?
Why? A retired IG says that it's all about self-preservation. Okay? An IG who pleaded to remain anonymous said it's unfortunate that the force keeps finding herself in such awkward situations. I believe those caught up in this mess should have been allowed to exit the force quietly without any back and forth. You see, because the problem is because the IG's tenure has been extended for 4 years. He's already 60. It's difficult for him to issue a directive that officers under him should leave when they are 60 or 35 years. So he says they should hold on. I think it's a mess. Okay, what I believe is, I believe in law and order. I don't like anything that says exception to a law. If you are going to extend, because of the IG, let's extend all police officers to 65. What is good there for the goose is good for the gander. Okay. So another retired IG says that the IG has no such powers to stop the Police Service Commission. A retired DIG who preferred his name out of print, the IGP has no power over PSC on that matter of retirement after serving 35 years or attaining 60 years. A retired CP says it will cause low morale. I agree. If you put a provision that says that his tenure can be extended, whose tenure will not be extended? You understand, Sheriff? Whose tenure will not be extended? Another retired IG says it will lead to demoralization. Okay? And some affected serving officers have sued the PSC. Some commissioners of police who left upon completion of 35 years but had not reached 60 threatened to fight for their recall or monetary compensation since they were not up to 60 years at the time of retirement. The police now is in utter confusion. I don't know. I think it's unfortunate that all this is happening during Mr. Egbetokun's time, which he could have been avoided. And this is an aside, different from this particular area. I wonder how Mr. Egbetokun feels. I don't know whether Mr. Adejobi calls attention to what goes on in the social media, where every Tom, Dick, and Harry now, every Tom, Dick, Harry, Susan, Yabode, whatever, all now have police escorts. It's become embarrassing. It's become an epidemic. Everybody who gaily dressed has some policeman or policewoman. Some have 2, some have 3. I would love to call on the IG to look at this thing critically. The image of the police now, believe you me, is not too good in the eyes of the public. And if care is not taken, they might be denied the moral right to exercise their function in terms of law and order. The image of the police is at the lowest in this regard. It's very, very untidy. The question to ask the president is, what is so special about Mr. Egbetokun that he cannot retire, that you cannot find any other person within the system to be an IG? If you extend his tenure and you extend, by extension, other people's tenure, how do the ones under move up? You understand what I'm saying, Sheriff?
Yes, absolutely.
I think it was a bad decision in the very first instance to have extended his tenure, no matter how much of a super cop you could be. I think it's better for you to move up so that others behind you can move and have an aspiration also to move up. Otherwise, like some retired commissioners of police have said here, it's a disincentive. If you don't move, if you keep extending for DIGs and so on and so forth, how will the corporal down there, how would he in his own lifetime in the police force be able to achieve even rank of sergeant? Nigeria is a funny and wonderful country. All kinds of things happen, and the thing has become a mess now. What do you think is the solution?
I think our leaders, those that are there right now, those that are coming, should know that for every action, there's always a reaction. For every action, there's always a consequence. People, when they come into power, when they're about to come into power, they make all these promises about the entrenchment of the rule of law. But then when they get in, they bend the rule of law to their favor. And this will always have consequences. This is one of those consequences of such actions. When a law says this, don't bend in to suit your personal interest, because this is not national interest. When you give police IG, when you amend the law to give the police IG to be able to stay in power longer than he was supposed to stay in power. And also, we need to amend the same police law that can allow for a female IG as well, because it's quite lopsided with the way the police is structured right now. And there's always been this back and forth between the PSC and the IG. I don't know what is going on, what is always going on there, but there hasn't been, correct me if I'm wrong, any IG that has not had any issue with the PSC. It's ridiculous. There's got to be some really clear demarcation or clear definition of JD, not you, for.
I think part of the problem also is that the concept of the PSC, I had thought, would be an overall body that would look that would guide the police structurally. To get a former policeman to head the PSC itself is creating a problem. I said this before. So you have two IGs. What you need is like in the universities. I keep saying that you don't need to be a professor to be a vice chancellor. What you need is a somebody with managerial and corporate experience to help guide the police. That's the whole idea. But if you put an IG, a retired IG on top of an IG, you will always have this problem. And I think there's a need to examine that. I've always advocated in the universities, your vice chancellor shouldn't be. You can have somebody like retired MD of Cadbury, Sir Christopher Kolade, as the top, as you know, and then you have a DVC academics and DVC. You understand what I'm saying? Because what we've had in our universities now is that people without managerial experience, they are professors, yes, professor of nutrition, professor of this and that, without structural, well-trained corporate experience, heading organizations. And look at the mess that we have in, was it the University of, where the Vice Chancellor was removed? I can't even find that story again.
Let's go take
So do you, sorry,
yes.
Mabi,
No problem.
I beg you.
No problem, sir. No problem.
Do you think the IG should fall on his sword and sacrifice himself in the national spirit?
Because he's supported by law right now. And also because he's backed by law. The whatever he's occupying now, the time that he's spending now is backed by law.
Yes.
Yeah, he may not be inclined to doing that.
Yes, but on the social front, you look, because the institution of the police, okay, there's a problem, and he is in the center of it.
The same way they rush to amend that law, they can rush to amend that law again. Because it would be difficult for us to say that IG should retire or should submit his resignation.
Since it's backed by law, by horridly.
Yeah, this the same way they should go and do it again, which is nearly impossible.
Sheriff, you know, this government in particular, these little things, they all add up at some point. Because who is the beneficiary of all this? The president and the IG. And the rest of us are going to suffer for it. Are we going to wait until, we have the lower ranks all now going on strike or becoming unionists and so on and so forth, going into unionism before we have a proper police force? The police as we have it now, I must say, it's very embarrassing, some of the things that you see. It's now like every man for himself and God for us all. I'm sure that the aspiration of an average corporal now is to be attached to a VIP. I've never seen a country where that protection thing has been seriously abused. And I'm surprised that the IG hasn't thought it fit to look into that area. Go to the social media. Some families have protection. The husband has 2 men, 2 policemen. The wife has 2 policewomen. The children have the one that follows them to school. Yet we say we are under policed.